and really gets to leave. That means things will now things will go correctly. All right. I've only got two more left.
You're down to Miss Gaines on the Caldwell matter, and then we will move on to problems.
So what was the second one?
Okay, give me Miss Gaines matter. So we can do on this. Want to bring them out?
Sean Caldwell.
Court does call the case, People versus Sean Caldwell.
Your Honor, Jonathan Evans on behalf of the people.
Joy Gaines, Senior Assistant Public Defender, representing Mr. Caldwell.
All right.
Sean Rudolph Caldwell.
All right. We ready to proceed on this matter? There is the motion.
You know, there is a motion that was filed by the previous attorney handling this case. Essentially, that speaks to the victim's statements to the officer pursuant to forfeiture by wrongdoing. I think that they're also admissible under 768.7C. So, different ways for these statements to come in. I'm prepared to argue the motion as it was.
What was this case before me? Oh, because he was in custody. That's why. All right.
Your Honor, if I may approach with Defendant's Exhibit 1, which is a printout that indicates that the complainant has a bench warrant. And with this,
Out of what court?
out of the 14B District Court. And Your Honor, it does, so our full argument in terms of the exhibit, we have other arguments as well, but in terms of the exhibit, is that Mr. Caldwell is not the cause of the wrongdoing. In reviewing the documents with regard to the bench warrant, Ms. Caldwell was arraigned on or about September 28th of 2022.
I'm sorry, say it again. Tom.
She was arraigned on or about September 28th of 2022. She stood mute and that the court scheduled a pretrial for her, attend the next pretrial date, which was also in 2022. She attended a pretrial November 16th, 2022. And another hearing was scheduled for, pardon me, I want to say one more thing about that. In terms of this November 16th, 2022 date, it does appear that at the scheduled pretrial, that not only was another pretrial scheduled, but also, I believe, a show cause hearing was scheduled. Both of these matters were up on January 18th this year, and Mrs. Caldwell failed to appear. She did appear, as I stated, at least 2 other times, both times via Zoom, and would have been aware of this court date, and she failed to appear, and likely is aware that there is a bench warrant. I do have that if you're on.
I'm sorry, we're saying that the last day is 23, right?
Yes. And that being the date that the bench warrant was issued.
And so your indication is, or you're indicating to the court, at least, that the only reason she's not here is because of the,
I'm indicating that on the papers that Mr. In terms of the pleadings that have been submitted by the prosecutor, that they are not able to show by a preponderance of the evidence all three of the things that are required for 804B6, which is that Mr. First wrongdoing, that wrongdoing was intended, and I'm specifically talking there that the wrongdoing did procure the unavailability. My argument is that that they cannot show that by a preponderance because there is in fact this warrant for her arrest, and that would make perfect sense for her not to be here.
but there were numerous phone calls, correct?
That is correct, Your Honor. However, just the fact that there are phone calls, and I go through a portion of the phone calls.
Pardon?
And I can discuss the phone calls, but just the fact that there are phone calls, which are a bond violation, does not mean if there were that necessarily is the reason that she's not here. They do have to show by a preponderance that there was wrongdoing that was in some way coercive, threatening, or with regard to her appearance, and that wrongdoing in fact caused her not to be here by a preponderance of the evidence. And that is pursuant to People v. Burke.
I understand that. And I guess my question is, have we heard all of the phone calls?
I have heard a majority of the phone calls. I actually received probably well over 100 links in terms of calls. And I can say that, let me start with this bit, that the various links are from a multitude of different days. There's one that and they are not in any order. There's one that refers to the 20th in terms of a conversation, and it's not.
Well, my issue is I'm not so much concerned about the date as what was said. And that's why I'm asking where they listened to.
And that is why I'm going to the next point, because I cannot tell what dates each of the calls were made, but there was clearly a call that was made after the dates in here, which are September 9th and I believe 15th, dated the 20th, where there were discussing where there was discussion about receiving a book. And there, in the course of these conversations, at least on 3 occasions, Mrs. Caldwell indicates that she called to the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department. One of those times, she indicates that she spoke to who she said was Miss Justice, but I believe that's probably Sergeant Justice. And so there were multiple occasions where she could have reported some concerns to law enforcement.
Okay, but I'm not even worried about whether or not she reported it. What I'm worried about is, or what the court's inquiry is during the course of these phone conversations, is there conversations that would lead to at least some inference that she shouldn't appear, or some type of coercion, something in these phone calls?
My interpretation
Okay.
in regard to the particular statements, and in speaking with my, that there is a breakdown, there's concern and things like that, but not a specific statement, do not come to court. No, there is not.
Well, I'm
Or is
not,
there a statement?
but Ms. Gaines, you know as well as I do that you don't often get that don't come to court. Sometimes you get that, but that's not,
There is a conversation where he says for her to come to court. But I'm, in terms of answering the specific statements that are alleged to have been preventing her from coming to court, in terms of the whole context of the conversation, there are not. Sometimes in relationships, people say things to each other because they are in an intimate relationship that are expressive of their own distress and their own frustration and their own worry and concern, which are simply expressions to the person that there's who they find to be their supportive person.
response.
When I listen to the majority of the most relevant phone calls, it's clear the first couple of phone calls come in right after he's arrested. And I think that that's important. And I think it's instructive. And so that those phone calls essentially tell the victim, court can't stop me. The police can't stop me. I'm still going to be in your life. And to that point, throughout the first part of the phone calls, there's a lot of I love yous. There's a lot of future planning. They're even talking about what I think that they're undergoing an eviction process, if I understand it correctly. And they're worried about what they're going to do with the cats, right? But then we get into the harm. You know, they start talking about how they're going to move forward. And then you see it in paragraph 4 in our motion. He says, figure out which direction we're going, start making an expletive plan. I can beat you up either way. I'm going to beat you up. I'm going to rape you. The victim warns the defendant, don't say anything over the recorded call. The defendant replies, I don't give a, if the police find out I'm talking to you, then I'm really expletive. That statement is instructive. We already have him reintroducing himself back into this woman's life on the heels of the incident that occurred on August 5th, right? By August 9th, he's already making these statements. Look what I'm capable of doing, and you know it. By August 15th, he kind of reiterates some of those points. We see that in paragraph 5. One of the calls that's not listed in this report, but was made mention to, that about him telling her to come to court. The court would like, it's about 30 seconds. I can play that part where he tells her to come to court, because what he says coming to court, but it's the tone in with which he says it that I think is more instructive. I've got it pulled up right here, what we'd like to listen to.
Sure, why not?
Oh, do I need to hook up into the?
That's typically a better way to do it. Yeah, just hook it up, and you're gonna go like we're doing the video. You know what to do.
I think she's changing the input. Hopefully I have this. Explain.
You make some money and you want to go fucking blow money for not making money with the person who would be there to the fucking end. Okay. Don't grab fucking money, show up in my court today. Show the fuck up, bitch. You paying her, show the fuck up. Show up or I'm never talking to you.
Never talked to you. It literally meant I wanted her to show up. I either pursue this or I don't even talk.
May not want to keep saying stuff.
So to me, obviously,
I let him finish.
I'm just letting him. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. So to me, that last part, it's almost, you hear the tone, and to me, I like to think that I'm somewhat reasonable. Court may disagree with that. But to me, that's come to court. I dare you. And we think about that on the heels of the statements, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to rape you. And that statement, go ahead, bring it forward. When we look at the coercive control that's employed from the very beginning to the very end of that phone call, it seems to me his intention is to try to avoid responsibility in whatever way he knows. And so to that end, I think that these calls are very tailored to procure, they were intended to do the wrongdoing. He admits that it's wrongdoing, and that they did in fact procure that unavailability. And so for that reason, I think that the statements are admissible. Like I said, also, I think that they meet the criteria under 768.27C. The statements that are going to come in were all made to the officers at the time of the offense. They're corroborated by the officer's observations. So I think there's a number of ways that come in. The last point, that warrant was in January of 2023. This happens in August 5th. She had police contact on August 5th while still having that warrant out. It kind of undercuts the idea that she's afraid of coming in when she already had the contact with the police. So speculation on my part, I concede, but it's something I think worth thinking about.
Ms. Gaines, anything else?
Yes, perhaps I misunderstood Mr. Emmons, but I do want to say that my client is not admitting to wrongdoing in terms of anything that would be coercive or in any way of that matter. Simply violating the bond conditions is not enough for the wrongdoing. The wrongdoing, there has to be some showing that the wrongdoing itself is what is the cause, and that there was a specific intent to cause her not to be in court. All of the things that Mr. Emmons has been mentioning are from August. However, a month later, or a little more than a month later, September 19th, is when we were scheduled for the preliminary examination, and she did not appear. There are hundreds of phone calls I would bet. However, I can't say for sure because they aren't labeled by date or any kind of order so that I can be certain. And they're mixed in with calls that are between some Spanish-speaking person. So in terms of my ability, at least 2 or 3 Spanish-speaking persons. So I cannot, yes, John.
So, I mean, I guess, Ms. Gaines, what are you indicating? That you haven't had the ability to listen to all of them, which may
I have not
frame a different context to what I've already heard?
Your Honor, that is what I believe, even from the ones that I have listened to, because I have listened to more than 2 calls. I've listened to, I will not count the Spanish ones, but I've listened to.
But Ms. Gaines,
all of those, but my point is in terms of the context of the calls in their entirety, they are not there. As he states, there's the pressure of the eviction. There's what are they going to do with the cats? There's a whole lot of things that are being discussed, including the court dates with regard to the eviction.
Ms. Gaines, are you indicating to me that there may be calls after these calls that are referred to that lend a different context where he may have, but you don't know because you haven't been able to listen to them all? Is that what I'm hearing?
You're hearing 2 things, that I have not listened to all of them. And there are calls that at least one that I am certain is after these 2 calls, because somebody says it's the 20th.
Okay, but Ms. Gaines, here's the problem. Because I don't have a written response from the defense. There are all of these phone calls. Based upon what I see now, it's clear to me that there is some wrongdoing. But you're trying to tell me that if you were to listen to these calls, that the court might, if that there is at least the possibility that if there are these other calls afterwards, the court might come to a different conclusion. That's what I'm hearing from you. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So if that's the case, I need a written response from the defense so that the people know which calls you're referring to. And I will adjourn this out 2 weeks and give you an opportunity to listen to all of them and get through it.
And if I may add one more thing, in terms of Mr. Caldwell. He did provide me with a letter that he received from her that is postmarked October 2nd of this year.
This is a week after.
Okay, see, so I can frame my own thing. You know, you gotta let your attorney do her job. She's very good at what she does, and you're not helping yourself. But if you want to keep talking, keep talking.
I am going to show it to the prosecutor. And in this card, there's a photograph, and there's also a statement of course, I want you to call. I hate not hearing from you. So I can do the written response if Your Honor needs some more information.
Well, I don't need any more information. I told you what I'd rule right now.
Yes.
You're indicating to me that there are other calls that may lead this court to form a different context to what was said. And so why does he keep talking to me? Is he done?
I believe so.
And so all I'm trying to do is to give you the opportunity to show that to the court.
If I could have one moment just to make sure that my client understands what's happening.
James, you may want to mute that thing so that everybody in the world doesn't hear it. I can.
Yeah,
You should see those first.
I will ask. Your Honor, this matter has been adjourned previously, twice, and Mr. Caldwell does not want another adjournment.
Well, then I'm ready to rule on the motion and proceed now. I don't have a problem. That does not get to that issue.
I understand now. Mr. Caldwell was requesting that I ask if you would see this.
If I would what?
If you would look at me.
But what does that, what would that tell me regarding this motion? Nothing.
I understand, Your Honor. If you're ruling that you will not look at it, then
There's no reason for me to.
I understand.
So then the other issue, and I want to make sure Mr. Caldwell understands, I'm prepared to rule on the motion with what's in front of me at this point in time. So that I'm real clear, I would be ruling that the people can proceed by forfeiture, meaning you're wrongdoing. Your counsel, in her way, has been asking the court that there are numerous calls that if she listened to them, may or may not lead the court to in another direction, not to allow this to proceed by forfeiture by wrongdoing. If it were, if she turns out to be correct, you need to understand that if I find that there's no forfeiture by wrongdoing and the alleged victim not appearing, the matter would be dismissed, which is what she is thinking about trying to get to. Whether she can get there or not, who knows? But if you don't want me to give the time for counsel to do that investigation for you, I won't, and we will proceed today. So if that's your choice, I just want you to clearly understand so that if it turns out that you're bound over to stand trial, you're not looking at anybody else in terms of that decision. You clearly would understand why this has happened. You understand that, Mr. Caldwell? That was a question.
Yeah, I mean, I do, it's just, I mean,
Okay, based upon what the court has said, because I'm just trying to be fair, do you want an opportunity to speak a couple minutes with your attorney in private so that you can figure out what you want to do? Okay. Since I ask questions and don't get answers, what I'm going to do, take him back. Ms. Gaines, go around, talk to him. I want to give him every opportunity to make decision, and it's okay because I'm not going to be home for breakfast the way this is going. Are these your folks on this case?
Yeah, they've got childcare responsibility. So.
I know. Can you give me 5 minutes? And that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to bring him right back out. I just have to have it made. Apologize, guys. Okay, what are we doing on my other matter that's left? Is that going to be an exam?
Yes.
Oh, joy. All right.
Mr. Goldstein is in court.
I didn't know federal. Why are you up here?
I need more of a state
Yeah.
Gunnar, we are going to be having an issue where I'm going to move for dismissal today, and then Mr. Chablowski is going to make his argument as to why we should start this exam today and then continue it to another day. So the ruling will obviously be your honors to make. So.
Well, hold on. No, I don't know why everybody has to make my day so hard. What do we have?
Do we need Mr. Robinson here?
That's just going to complicate things.
Okay.
Yes. Well, no. Let's bring him out. Why not? The more we can bring to the party. No, I'm good. The more we can bring to the party. I'm stopping at minute 5 and bring the other gentleman out because these guys are waiting here and they got to go.
Do we need Mr. Robinson?
Yes, bring Mr. Robinson out, but I may have him rush back and the other person brought out because I'm getting sooner or later. I'm getting home for breakfast. That's happening. It's good. It's a thing.
Your Honor, I will say that we have remarked on how fresh you still are after this very long day. Really, I mean, I don't even know how I'd be laughing or smiling at this point, given all the testimony and all the stuff you've had to say, Your Honor. We were all just talking about it like, wow, like you've got some stamina, Your Honor. So.
Well, yeah, so laughing and whatever could be signs of delusion, but that's okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Court does call the case of the people versus Kawan Robinson.
Yes, Your Honor. Erica Julian appearing on behalf of Mr. Robinson.
All right, and Mr. Robinson is here. And what are we doing? Are the people ready to proceed?
Yes.
So I believe that that's true in parts, Your Honor, which is why I'd be making a motion at this time. So and he needs to be arraigned on an amended complaint that was filed, which includes numerous additional charges. I believe that the prosecutor is going to turn around and dismiss a number of those charges, or at least not pursue them during exam. Did Your Honor receive the amended felony complaint on October 13th, dated October 13th?
How many counts?
17.
How many?
17.
No.
Oh.
Well, hello.
I have the one that has I'm looking at the information. I'm not, well, let me make sure, because you would have filed the information too. You said on what date? October?
It was authorized on October 13th. That would have been last Friday. I'm not sure.
I don't have it. I have a 12 count complaint is the only thing that I have.
But I have a copy here.
Was he arraigned on those additional counts or no?
He has not been yet, Your Honor, but,
Go ahead.
so just to give the court a long story short, it's my understanding
Too late.
that, so for counts 13, 14, and 15, and 17, which you don't have yet, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll wait until you have it in your hands, Your Honor.
When's that gonna happen? Like,
It's submitted information, but for purposes of informing the court of defense. That summarizes things.
okay, the clerk's office doesn't have it, but go ahead. What is your?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. So it's my understanding that the people are not intending to pursue during the exam counts 1 through 12, as well as on amended count through 16, that the people would be intending to proceed today. And once Mr. Robinson is arraigned on amended count 13, 14, 15, and 17, that those 4 counts would be the subject of the exam. Those 4 counts have to do with an individual named Damani Wright. And that's really what this whole situation was about. This is a shooting case, and ultimately, for my purposes, it's more of a self-defense issue as to who was shooting first, and that would be a credibility issue. And I was ready to waive on that because obviously this court is not going to make that determination as to whether self-defense was present or not. However, it's my understanding that Mr. McWright, Damani, is not here today, and that the people could put on an explanation as to why he's not here today. We have all been here today, but Damani has not come to court today. Their intention would be to begin with Mr. Goldstein's client, who is listed as a co-defendant, who is receiving a plea agreement in order to testify against Mr. Robinson, that there's no guarantee that this individual, Damani McWright, is ever going to come to court. And so they were going to be requesting an adjournment after Rontrell Davis's testimony. So I was going to be objecting to that, and that.
So,
Yes.
but here's the issue. We could start today, and then it would be adjourned.
Yes, Your Honor. I need to place my objection to that. I know that that's my that's
Okay, objection so noted. We're going to do this all together at a later date. Is this the only thing holding your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so here's part of the problem, just so that everybody's clear. I got to have this before whatever the exam is. I've got to have this paperwork cleaned up because you're talking about an amended complaint I don't have. He hasn't been arraigned on any of these. I mean, nothing, I don't even know what I'm proceeding. I've listened to your argument, but I don't know what, are you intending on dismissing counts?
Judge, we're going to dismiss counts 1 through 12.
They're all the ones I have. Okay, but then you're going to proceed.
What is currently numbered 13, 14, 15.
Okay, so just so that we're clear, those are not current because I don't have them.
Understood.
And he hasn't been arraigned on those.
Yes, Your Honor.
So Am I supposed to keep this copy
I
of,
will get you a clean copy.
okay, I need a new complaint, but you know what the charges are, right?
I do, and they are about to make a lot more sense now, given.
Okay, so 13, 14. So for arraignment purposes on those counts, does your client waive for formal
Wait,
reading of?
formal reading, he stands mute. He's seen the amended complaint. We understand what's on it, and he's arraigned on that. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so in terms of testimony in the case, would all of that be cleared up by the 31st?
I would hope so, Your Honor.
Yes. Sir.
So we're 13, 14, 15, and 17?
And
Yes.
just so
So
that,
what happened to count 16?
16 was tied to the counts in 1 through 12. It's a felony firearm charge.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. You get that to me. I'm gonna indicate he's been arraigned on counts 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Then you can dismiss whatever the heck you like. All right?
yes, Your Honor. I would like to just ask for one more clarification from the people on the record. I've been handed 2 other additional felony charges. Are those going to be?
Where are those
Add-
coming from?
Your Honor, here's what,
Hold on a second.
yes, Your Honor.
Just everybody stop for a moment. Because these gentlemen, there's somebody has a childcare issue. So is Miss Gaines back? Okay, I'm gonna let them go ahead and talk. You guys, those are your witnesses on the other thing. I'm gonna adjourn it out on good cause in any event, because I'm not gonna put the attorney in that position. So I'm not gonna worry about, they just need to have a conversation. So I'm gonna release these witnesses and they can go do what you need to do. All right, gentlemen? Sorry about the hold up on Caldwell, but I have to recall it. But
Your Honor, so there were 3 sets of charges. The counts 1 through 12 and the 16, they had to do with a school bus that was in the area where the shooting occurred. And so these amended counts, adding 13 through 15 and 17, they have to do with the actual 2 individuals that were involved in what was going on. And so it's my understanding that the people are going to be, is this adding at the end of testimony, or is this going to be?
That's what I was going to try to do today.
Okay.
Judge, Judge, we previously had contact with Damani McRae. We fully expected him to be cooperative, to show up. It is my understanding, after speaking with his family, that he has been receiving threats related to this, all it related to information that was put into the police report, that Detective Luke, who is my officer in charge today, discovered posted on what is the defendant's Instagram page by the defendant's brother. So 6 pages of police report with various conversation, messages written overlaid over that, was put on the internet today. And even prior to that, Mr. McRae has been receiving threats relating to this, but they have even today gotten more severe. And I share those with the court.
Quite frankly, I was asking whether or not he was going to continue by adding felony counts. I'm not making a bond motion, and none of this is related to my client, Kawan. Whatever, and Mr. Chabalowski.
Hold on a second though.
Yes, sir.
You were the one that raised additional felony counts.
Yes, this is discharge from a vehicle and discharge in or out of building. It's not related to what Mr. Chabalowski is about to say. This has to do with, again, amending the complaint on the shooting that day. Adding additional.
So,
Yes, Your Honor.
so hold on. So there may be additional counts coming that won't be part of this case.
It would be, we would ask after the testimony, if the proofs bear it out,
To add those counts. Got it.
To add the discharge from a vehicle and add a building. But in terms of what you're talking about with Mr. McWright and why he is or is not present today, that's, the judge has adjourned it to October 31st.
Well, I haven't as of yet,
Oh,
but
I'm
I
sorry.
will.
I thought that you had your
I would. Well, everybody kept talking, so I didn't get to it. But I mean, I will adjourn it out so that,
You can, we believe that if we're gonna get Mr. McWright here, the 31st would be sufficient, Judge. We were hoping to put Mr. Davis's testimony on today pursuant to the plea agreement that he has worked out that Mr. Goldstein is here for.
you realize Mr. Goldstein's not here.
He is in.
Oh, okay, he's in the ante room, okay. So you want to put that testimony on today?
And I just will continue to place my objection on the record that we've been here all day today, and that whatever is going on with Mr. McWright, if you're saying that, if the people, excuse me, are saying that at some point later today, that some things were posted on social media, Monty McWright should have been here at 9 o'clock this morning, same as everybody else. And so I'm not sure what Bearing did or did not, that whatever it was that he's referring to, did or did not have a Mr. McWright's appearance today. At least at some point later this afternoon, and none of that had to do with Mr. Robinson personally. So I would request that all of this be done at once, especially if Mr. McWright's testimony is going to be crucial to the people not here today. He's the subject of.
So, well, hold on. Get Mr. Goldstein in here. Because folks, listen, I think I raised this to you before. I am more than willing so that everything can get straight. I was willing to hold it today. I'm willing to stay here to do that, or I'm willing to hold everything Monday, or I'm willing to put it out. I can be flexible in what we do, but you guys have to try to figure out what you want done. So to guide you, I will hear. It seems to me that I can hear the testimony of the other individual today, adjourn it out for the other testimony on the 31st. I don't know what prejudice that causes to this defendant, because otherwise it's going to be we're adjourning it to the 31st anyway.
Yes, Your Honor. And in fairness to Mr. Goldstein and his client, this was a prosecutor's demand. I attempted to waive on this case before. This is the prosecutor's demand in order to put Rontrell Davis's testimony on the record, because after today, he gets to enter a plea in circuit court, which will release him from the jail as a result of his cooperation in this case. And so that's the.
So when's that plea set to happen?
Thursday in front of Judge.
Well, he's up in court on Thursday. If the hope was to testify today, go to circuit, in this case, have his case called on Thursday. I would guess.
Okay.
I'll get Mr. Goldstein.
Oh, joy. Yeah, go ahead. Bring more in. Why not? Miss Gaines? Where'd she go? I know, she snuck out. She's like a cat. Never heard him leaving. I'm dying here. Okay, I just need to make the frosting. I don't need. What? We lost Joy. It's okay. It's okay. I'm good. He's like in the way.
Mr. Goldstein, I think the judge is looking for your attention.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. You're looking to get your client's testimony out today.
Yes,
Okay.
well, just by 1:30 Thursday, let's put it that way. The agreement, frankly, Judge, was he gets out at 1:30 on the Thursday of the week that he testifies.
Then can I ask why we didn't put this over till Monday? Because nobody's available.
Because he wants to be out this Thursday. And that's what we anticipated.
Oh. Yeah. See, because I'm in charge, I got to work. Okay, so we will, unless you guys work something else out, I'm gonna take that testimony this evening, I guess.
That's fine. I just, for Mr. Robinson's sake, I needed to place the objection on the record.
And you've done a fine job.
Thanks, Your Honor.
All right.
Judge, I hate to just, I'm.
Goldstein, no. What are you gonna tell me?
Okay, I have a matter in front of Judge Kunke that has to be heard today. I've been waiting since 1:30 for her to call my case. And of course, in the great scheme of things, she's going to call the case in about 2 minutes.
Go for it. Go, well, on Zoom, I'm taking. Go ahead. Take that case, take him back. I'll call whoever I was supposed to have plans with tonight, tell him it's out. Ms. Gaines? Has your client made a decision? Because the court has already.
Your Honor, he would like the earliest possible adjournment.
Okay, so you want me to bring him out to tell him when it is? It's October 31st. I mean, I'll bring him out so we can tell him on the record.
If there's any possibility of the Monday that Your Honor offered previously on a different matter.
See, I was gonna say no, but no, because it's Joy. Are you gonna be, okay, but yeah, bring
Can
him.
we approach real quick? I mean.
Yeah, come on. Oscar.
Yeah, so I gave it to him, but we fails. All rise. The 14A District Court is now back in session. The Honorable Judge James Cedric Simpson.
May be seated. I almost did not come back. Let's do Caldwell, I guess, first.
Yes, I'm ready on call.
We'll need a person.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, things are going to go swimmingly. XkUXkcrURjc's not here. We're good.
Mr. Caldwell. Thank you.
Putting this. Court does recall the case of People versus Sean Caldwell.
Your Honor, Jonathan Emmons on behalf of the people.
Jointly Senior Assistant Public Defender representing Mr. Caldwell, who's present in the courtroom.
All right. Okay. I believe what we're going to do is we're going to get an adjournment. My next date was the 31st. Miss Gaines has implored me, and I've relented to it. So you can thank her, sir. She told me that you wanted to have the next available date. And so we worked some things out. So what I will do is I will set the preliminary examination. I'll just go to Monday, the 23rd. So I'll adjourn the preliminary examination in this matter to October 23rd, 2023, 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Yes, that will be in person. Does 9 work, Mr.?
Your Honor, I thought I heard a different time, so I sent the email to the officers anticipating that. I think I said 10, but I can just correct that.
Hey, you said 10 a.m.?
Yes, but I can correct it.
Well, we'll hear it at 10. Don't worry about it. We'll just do it at 10 a.m. I've got something else set at 9, so we can do it. We'll just do it at 10 a.m. That's before me in person. That way you don't have to send anything correct. All right, Bond will continue. Okay, so yes.
Given the circumstances, I've talked to Joy about this. I put a resolution out there to be thought of. As long as she can get back to me before Monday, I'll keep that offer open.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you, Mr. Caldwell. Court does call the case. Well, we gotta wait.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening
Yep.
to you and your staff.
Yes, indeed.
Court has no objection, Your Honor. I'm going to sit in the jury box while my fine. Is that okay?
I don't have a problem with that. Oh, so now Longsworth is gonna leave?
No, that is changing seats.
Oh, okay. All right.
Can I call Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
I said that to be polite. I honestly did not care which. I just said, well, I'm going to be late.
Court recalls the case, the people state of Michigan versus Robert. Counsel, state your.
Erica Julian appearing on behalf of Juan Robinson, who is my right.
All right. And we are going to start the preliminary exam in this matter. So if the parties are ready, you may call your first witness.
People would call Ron Fellow.
That's a look.
Right. Yeah.
I may still be here.
You're still here.
Come this way. Okay.
Conlon told me to reach out to Benay, talk about Mark Alonso. She never called me back. So, right. Come on and tell me. That's what I suggested last week. And Conlon said, I'll go talk to Benay. I did. I left you several messages. I didn't hear back.
That can't help you.
All right. Mr. Davis, do we have, they're not excluded at this point.
No.
Okay, good enough. All right. First witness is here. May I have him sworn?
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
See. State your first and last name and spell.
All right, you may inquire.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, do you recall some events that happened on May 22nd, 2023? Okay. And you're here today and have agreed and have a plea agreement in order to provide testimony. Is that correct? Judge, I have people's proposed exhibit 1.
All right, you may approach the one.
Oh, no, to Mr. Witness. Mr. Davis, do you recognize that? And is that a copy of the agreement you have with the prosecutor's office? And that's for your testimony, your truthful testimony, and then it also includes what consideration you're getting for that testimony. Is that correct? All right. And that's something you worked out with your lawyer and another member of my office? Thank you. Move people's proposed exhibit number 1.
Any objection?
Not for preliminaries anyway.
All right, exhibit 1 is admitted.
Thank you. Now, May 22nd, 2023, around 3:15 p.m. or so, where were you?
At my house.
Okay, where is that located? Okay, and it's here on Heights in Ypsilanti, Michigan?
Yeah.
And is that in Washington County, Michigan?
Yes.
State of Michigan, okay. And what happened that afternoon that brings you to court today?
Shooting.
Okay. Can you tell us who was involved in that shooting?
Money.
Okay. Who's Damani?
He's like another civilian, another person.
Okay. Do you know is his last name McWright?
Yeah.
And you said Kawan. Who is Kawan?
Wow.
Whom? You appear to be trying to point to someone. Okay. Can you describe what he's wearing for us, please? All right. Ask the record reflect identification of the defendant.
Without objection, record shall so reflect.
Thank you. So as far as, so what happened during this shooting?
It's an argument.
Who was the argument between?
Him and him arguing whatever. They got me down, and then I was trying to protect my brother.
I'm very sorry. His voice is a little bit low coming to the defense
All
table.
right. Can you speak up a little bit,
Okay.
young man?
So let me back up a second. You said him and Damani,
Yeah,
I mean the defendant.
yeah.
All right. So there was some argument. Do you recall what they were arguing about?
It's a baby.
All right. And do you recall any,
Baby.
a baby? Okay. Do you recall what the defendant was saying?
Which one?
So the Miss Kawan.
He was just like he was just Money was screaming like
Your Honor, objection to hearsay as to what Damani said.
Hold on a second. I'll sustain the objection. Can't testify about what Damani said, okay?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Like, we're right down game.
What does that mean?
Game.
Okay. And so there's some, how did you wind up finding this argument?
and I was there, I witnessed it.
Okay, and were you there prior to the argument happening?
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
How did it start?
Boy, the man walked up on Kwan, like,
So sustained,
Not for,
man. You can't talk about you can say what happened and what you saw, but you can't talk about what Damani said. Okay?
I saw him arguing, and then I seen pull his gun out, and then
sorry, we got talking about two people.
Kwan pulled his gun out, and then after that, the other defendant was like, "Put your gun down, fight this and that," and then Kwan wasn't trying to fight. Then he ended up firing at the money, and then he ran. And I'm trying to move my brothers in my way. We ain't had nothing to do with what they had going on. My brothers out the way, get them to safety, and still about what they going on. And get in the car, and then he still shooting me at the money out the window, and
Okay.
that's when the money opened fire.
I'm going to take you back and break this down a little bit, okay? And can I ask you to use names when you talk to people rather than he or defendant, please? Thank you. Hold on. So that afternoon, you were at your house.
Yes.
Okay. And you were there with some family members?
Yes.
All right. Was Kwan there all day or did he come at some point?
Came at some point.
Okay. Was Damani there when Kwan first arrived?
No.
All right. So Kwan is there and what did he do or say when he first arrived?
Well, when we first arrived, we didn't have a problem. I mean, like
Okay.
we addressed that we didn't have a problem with each other. And then we went around back of the building, me and Kwan walked around to the back. And that's when all the girls that was there, they ran in the house. And then that's when we were still chilling in the backyard. And then Zamani showed up.
Okay. And was there, do you know why the girls ran back into the house?
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
Yes.
Well, he might know. So he
Yes.
says he knows. All right.
Okay. Why did they run back into the house?
They said they were scared of Kwan.
Okay,
Okay.
sustained.
That's sustained. All right. Had you ever heard Kwan make threats prior to this particular day to those girls or about those girls?
Hold on.
Objection is relevant.
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. What is the relevance of that?
I'll withdraw the question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Now, so you're in the back of your,
heard them outside the window
Okay.
saying
no, you can't talk about the
Hold on.
girls.
Sir, you can't wait for a question. Go ahead.
So you're outside with Kwan. And can you describe the apartment complex where you live?
yeah.
Okay, so is there a parking lot? Okay, where were you in relation to the parking lot?
At what point in time?
Before Damani showed up with Kwan?
We were in the backyard of my house.
Okay. All right.
My
So,
apartment. We were on the backside of my apartment.
okay. And then Damani showed up.
Yes, sir.
And did Damani have a firearm with him?
In a holster.
And was that holster like displayed outside his body?
Yeah.
And at that point, what did Kwan do?
Yes.
When Damani shows up, what does Kwan do?
Feels threatened.
Objection is to the
Really?
Hold on.
Hold on.
Okay,
Re-ask the question.
I'll re-ask the question. Not what he may have felt or anything, but what did he do? Did Kwan say anything about Damani showing up?
No, he pulled his gun out.
Who pulled his gun out? All right. And did he say anything when he did that? Or was he, let me ask you a different question.
He put a question before the witness. We're just waiting for the witness to answer.
Well, let's just clarify the question. The question is did Kawan say anything when he pulled the gun?
Correct.
All right.
Damani spoke to Kawan first, then that's when Kawan spoke, but he had already had his gun out. Okay. They were talking about Baby J.
Who's Baby J?
I don't know, some baby.
Okay.
I just know it's a baby that passed away, and that's why they were arguing.
Okay. Now, at some point, what did Kawan do with his gun after he pulled it out?
Pointing towards Damani and Runs.
Okay. Now, explain what you mean that he pointed at Damani and runs.
Points, pull the gun out, points it at Damani, but he's walking away like to the side of the building to where he can get covered.
Okay.
And Damani's screaming, "Put your gun down! Put your gun down!"
Okay.
Objection.
Not for the truth of the matter asserted, Judge, just explaining and going through the story.
State of mind. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Did Damani have his gun out at that point?
No.
All right. So, when Kawan was walking away, was he saying anything?
Yeah, like fuck the baby.
Okay.
And like,
Okay. And is that when he said the rundown gang?
Yeah.
Is that a name of a gang or is that a term used about a gang?
I believe it could be both.
Okay. Okay. Now, so did Kawan get to where you said he thought he was trying to go for cover or something, or get around the building?
Yes.
Okay. Did he get around the building?
Yes.
Okay. What happened next?
Me and Damani trying to move the kids out the way,
Okay.
and Kawan sends a shot at Damani.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a couple questions about that. When Kawan first pulled his gun out, were there other kids in the area?
Yes.
How many? Approximately.
Like 6 or 7.
All right. And were some of those kids related to you and some not related to you, or how?
Objection as to relevance is.
Yes.
I understand.
Go ahead.
I understand that there are kids in the area, and I didn't object to that because he was about to reference pulling kids out. But in terms of relationships or what's going on with the kids, otherwise, they're not the subject of our litigation.
I'll overrule the objection. I'll allow it.
Thank you. So were some of these kids related to you?
Yes.
Okay. How many? And how many other kids were there?
3.
Okay. So did you see Damani, without saying if he said anything, but try to shoo these kids somewhere or what?
Yes.
All right. And is that what you were doing too?
Yes.
Okay. Where were you trying to get the kids?
Up to the top of the hill,
Okay. And what would have been at the top of the hill?
the high ground.
Okay. Was that to try to get behind the hill then, or?
Yes.
Okay. And where is that hill located related to your apartment building?
Right behind it.
Now, I think you said that Kawan took a shot at Damani.
Yes.
How do you know he took a shot at Damani?
Seen it.
Okay. Did you see him point a gun at Damani?
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe the gun that he was pointing?
Like silver.
Okay. Is it a rifle or a pistol? Do you know if it was a revolver or an automatic?
Here.
Okay. Looked like a 9mm?
Yes.
All right.
If we could clarify from the witness whether he knows that for a fact or whether that's speculation.
I seen it.
Hold on.
Okay.
There you go.
Clarified it.
All right. Now, where were you to be able to see Kawan? You were on top of the hill at this point?
Yes. I
How-
can see Damani and Kawan.
How far away from Damani and Kawan were you?
4 yards.
4 yards?
40, like.
Oh, 40.
Yeah.
Okay.
40 to 30 yards.
Okay, thank you. Then, how many times did Kawan shoot at Damani?
Like, in general,
No, just right at that moment.
like twice.
And did he hit Damani?
No,
At that point, did you see Damani do anything?
yes.
What did you see Damani do?
Push his auntie back in the house,
Okay, where was his aunt located?
in the middle of him, in between Damani and Kawan.
Okay. And at this point, did Damani have a gun out yet?
Not out the holster.
That's okay, thank you. Did Damani get his aunt into her house?
Yes, in time, yes.
Okay. And now, Judge, I believe this will be an excited utterance. Did Damani say anything at that point
So,
to
Hold on.
Kawan?
At this moment.
At what point?
So I'll rephrase. After he got his aunt into the house.
no,
Okay. All right. Before
Hold on.
Damani, sorry.
Go ahead. No, you can go ahead. Just hold on before you say something, okay? Make sure you hear the question.
Before Damani drew his gun, did he say anything to Kawan?
At
Okay.
this moment, I'm going to object.
I believe-
Okay. Go ahead.
I believe this would be an excited utterance. It's someone who's just been shot at, and would be something that came out as
He was taking
That's-
some action and pushing.
as some action.
What's the response to that?
The response to that, Your Honor, is that these are statements by Damani. We can't tell whether he in particular is excited or not to satisfy the exception. Damani is expected to be a witness in this trial and at this prelim exam at some later point, and he can testify as to what he said at that point. It makes no sense to bring it in through this witness, Your Honor.
Well, I think it comes in as an excited utterance, given the facts that this witness has testified to being shot at. He is taking some action, and I'm presuming that then this statement is made. So I will allow it over the hearsay objection as an excited utterance.
Thank you. So, did Damani say anything there?
yes.
What did he say?
He was still saying, put his gun down. He was trying to get him to put his gun down.
Who was he trying to get to put their gun down? Okay, thank you. And at some point, did Kawan continue to shoot at this point, or was there a pause in the shooting?
Pause.
And at some point, did Damani get his gun out?
Yes.
Okay. When did that happen?
When he got his auntie in the house, Juan had already ran to the side, in front of the complex. Juan's aunt had locked the back door, so then Damani didn't get in after. So then after she locked the back door, Damani had pulled his gun out and he was walking around the side of the building to try to make sure that he wouldn't be shot.
Your Honor, objection is speculation as to why he walked around the building.
I'll disregard that part of his answer.
Thank you.
So I'll stand with.
But he walked around the building.
Yes.
Okay. Did it appear to you that Damani chased after Kawan?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did he run around the building?
Your Honor,
He slowly walked around the building.
All right. And at the point that you saw Damani walk around the building, could you still see Kawan?
No,
Okay. So where were you standing at that point?
top of the hill.
You were still on top of the hill. Did you lose sight of Damani?
No,
Did you lose sight of Kawan?
yes.
What did you do when Damani started walking around the building?
I ran over to get Lil Dre.
Who's that?
He's about like a 4-year-old, and he was still like, I didn't know where Kawan was located at I knew where Dre was located, and so I ran to him.
And where were the other kids that you were?
Your objections for relevance at this
I had
point?
Chris. I
Overruled.
had Chris at the top of the video, and I had my cousins over there on the side of the building. They were like going towards the other way, but Dre didn't know what was going on.
Or at least,
I was trying to get Dre and was able to see Kawan again in the morning.
okay. You just said a couple of things. You said some of the kids were going the other way.
Yes.
The other way compared to,
Away from the way that mine was walking.
okay,
They were walking the opposite way.
all right. And was Damani going the same direction as Kawan, or was he going a different direction?
He was going the same direction, trying to get in the front. I assume he was trying to get in the front of the house.
Fair enough. All right. Now, you just said that you saw Kawan again.
Yeah.
Where were you when you saw Kawan this again?
When I was on like by the green box.
Okay. When you say the green box, like one of those electrical boxes in the fields?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Where was Kawan when you,
Car.
I'm sorry?
In the car.
Okay. Can you describe the car? Blue? Was it like a sports car, a big van, a pickup truck? Could you see who was driving? You know who was driving?
Yes.
Who was driving? Who is Davon?
It's like someone else did.
Okay. Okay. And you said that Kawan was in the car. Could you see him in the car?
Yes.
Where was he in the car?
Passenger seat.
Front or back passenger seat?
Front.
Was the window open or closed?
Down.
So it was down open?
Yeah.
What- Okay, was it open? Could you tell if it was open all the way or just?
Yes.
Okay. And you said he was hanging out the window. Can you describe what he looked like and was doing?
He was shooting at Damani. That's when Damani pulled his gun out and started firing at the vehicle.
Okay. Could you see at some point Damani put his gun back in his holster?
Objection as to leading at this point.
Okay.
And I understand that there are yes and no questions and the witness can answer. However, at this point, if the witness could describe after that, just simply what happened next as opposed to being directed.
Defense attorney asking a prosecutor to ask what happened next. Really? Interesting.
Good.
Overruled.
Yes, Your
Go
Honor.
ahead.
Thank you. Okay. Did you see Damani put his gun back in his holster?
Yes.
Where were you when you saw Damani put his gun back in his holster?
Like when it was all like said and done.
No, I'm sorry. Let me back up. You had picked up Dre by the green box,
Yes.
and then you saw Kawan in the car.
Yes.
Could you see Kawan in the car from the green box?
Yes.
And could you see Damani at that point?
Yes.
Where was Damani?
On the side, on the side of the building.
So not in the, now, is the front where the parking lot is?
Yes.
Okay.
He
So-
was on the side of the building line. Like the like where the brakes is, like when you got to, like if you go into the parking lot. Like
Okay.
he was on the side of the, like on the side of this.
Sure. Do you know which end of the building he was closer to?
I think that's like the coordinates, like the southwest.
Which, would it be easier to say which street or?
Concord.
Okay. All right. So just so we're clear with where we are. Kawan's in the car. Bonnie's by the side of the building. Are you still by the green box at this point?
Yes.
Okay. And then you saw what happened.
He's firing at the money.
Hold on. Yeah, sorry, thank you. The names, please, thank you.
One's firing at the money, and at this point, where the money, like, the money kind of like freezes for like 5 seconds. Then he pulls his gun out of his holster, and then that's when he starts to fire back at the vehicle.
Okay. Now, when you started when you saw the shooting start up again, what did you do?
I instantly ran to the top of the hill trying to get the kids,
Okay.
get my cousins out the way.
And what did you do to try to get your cousins out of the way?
I was screaming at them,
Okay. Where were you screaming?
move.
Okay. Where were you trying to get them to move to?
I was trying to, because the sun was out of like the distance of me, like even telling them where to go. So they started running towards like the end, a couple of them started running towards the end, like 3 ran the opposite way. And then one was still stuck in the middle of the line, and then one was on top of the hill. So the one that was stuck in between them, I was screaming at him.
Hold on a second. Do you know the name of the child that was stuck between Kawan and Damani?
Christian.
Okay. You say you were screaming at him. Is that who you were screaming
Yeah, I
at?
was screaming at Christian.
Okay. Did you do anything to try to go help Christian?
No, the money did.
Okay. And what did Damani do?
The money kind of like, it's like pushing them, like pushing them towards me.
Okay.
Get up the hill.
Was Damani still by the side of the building at this point? You have to answer out loud. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Now, at some point, did you also shoot back at Kawan?
Yes.
Okay. How did that happen?
In the midst of him shooting at the money,
So, sorry, can you use names, please?
in the midst of Ron shooting at the money, a bullet almost hit me and Jerry, but unfortunately it hit the trash can.
Okay. And then, did you have a firearm with you or?
Yes.
Okay. It was can you describe it?
Black.
Okay, pistol?
Yes.
So is that when you shot back at Kawan?
Yes.
Where was Damani when you shot back at Kawan?
He was still on the side of the building. Like I couldn't, like when I shot back at Kawan, I wasn't like facing Damani at any point in time, so I really wouldn't know where he was located. I just had Jerry behind me and was focused on the vehicle.
How far away from you was the trash can that got hit?
I don't know, like right here, and the trash can is right here.
Well, let's use me to you
Yeah,
or closer or further.
closer.
Okay, judge may approach the witness.
You may.
Tell me when to stop.
Right there.
Okay. Record about 10 feet or so.
I was thinking 8 to 10.
Fair enough. Thank you. So the trash can was about 8 to 10 feet away from you. Was it in front of you or on the side of you?
Side.
Now, was Damani ever shooting in your direction?
No.
At least that you saw?
No.
Okay. How many times did you shoot excuse me, let me finish the question. How many times did you shoot towards Kawan?
Twice.
Twice. Was Damani continuing to shoot at Kawan while you shot, if you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And what happened after you shot back at Kawan?
Boy ran to the back of my house.
Would that have, and when you say you ran to the back of your house, were you able to see Kawan at that point anymore?
Yeah, I was like running. Yeah, I could still see the car.
Okay, as you were running, but once you got behind the house, could you still see Kawan? All right. Could you still see Damani once you got behind the house? All right. While you were running, was the car moving?
Yes.
Okay.
Car had already like drove past. Like yeah, already like started to go away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Could you see if Kawan was shooting out of the car as it drove away? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay. How can you tell that he was shooting out of the car as it drove away?
Gun.
What do you mean?
Color of the gun.
Okay. Did you see the gun?
Yes.
Was he still hanging out of the window at that point?
Yes.
Questions. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Good evening, Mr. Davis. As you know, I represent Kawan Robinson. I'm going to ask you some questions. If at any point you don't understand my question, please stop me and tell me what you don't understand about it. I'll try and rephrase it, okay? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go back to when Kawan first arrived. You testified that he arrived in a vehicle, right? And at that point, he was with Davon? Was he with anybody else?
No.
Okay. And at that point, you were with someone that you knew named Dallas, correct? And you gave a statement to the police. You gave a couple, correct? Okay. And in the latest statement that you gave to the police, you told them that Dallas actually gave you a gun as soon as Kawan arrived and Davon before they even got out of the car, correct? And you pointed that gun at the car when it got there.
Yes.
And so when you testified that you decided that you were cool with each other, that's what that was about, right?
Yes. That's when. Yep. Yes.
Okay. And so even though you showed up, you pointed a gun at Kawan, you worked it out, and you decided to just go on and go hang out, right? Okay. So you're hanging out, and at some point, Damani shows up, right? And he's got a gun on his holster.
Yes.
Now, did you call him, or do you know how or why he got there?
No, I didn't call him.
Okay, he just simply showed up with a gun in a holster and
Yes.
and then proceeded to have between him and Kawan, they had an argument.
Yes.
And at that point, let me make sure. It was after Damani walked up with his gun that at that point, Kawan had pulled out a gun.
It was in his holster though, like.
No, I'm asking about Kawan. Damani had showed up with it. We understand. It was in a holster, and it was visible to everybody, right? Okay. It was not a secret that Damani was walking around with a gun outside of his person.
No.
Okay. And then he and Kawan have an argument, right? And so at that point, your testimony is that that's when Kawan pulls a gun out.
Yes.
Okay. And then you testified that he pointed it toward Damani, but then also ran to get some sort of cover or like was trying to leave the situation.
Yes.
Okay. And then with what Damani was doing at that time, as you're observing this, Are your eyes, I mean, this sounds like a lot going on at once, right? Were your eyes locked on the both of them for that whole time? Like not even looking at anything around you, just locked on the two of them?
Yes, I instantly ran up the top of the hill and I was watching, like at the top of the hill, I could see everything. I could see all the kids, the money came along.
Okay, so hold on. I'm going to take you to that time that's in between when Damani has his gun and there's an argument, and then Kawan produces his gun. And then as you're running toward the hill, is this running away from the building?
Yes,
And so your eyes were focused on running away from the building.
yes,
And that would make Kawan and Damani behind you, correct? And so you weren't running forward with your head turned around the whole time, correct? Okay, so there were times that you wouldn't have seen the exact interaction that was going on between Damani and Kawan.
yes. That's why I didn't know the whole like argument of what was said.
Okay. And so, so as Kawan is trying to leave the situation, Damani, I guess there was a lot of testimony that there were kids around and that, you know, there was all this concern with getting kids to different places, and that's great. But you didn't actually see at that time who shot first,
Yes, I did.
okay? And it's your testimony that Kawan
Yes,
shot first. And this is, so that I'm clear, so that I understand on the record, this is as you are running toward the hill?
no, like I was facing them when I seen them shoot. They was just arguing when I ran up the hill. And the bullet didn't fly until like I was able to see everybody. And, like those kids was moving out the way.
Okay, so you're saying that Kawan, just so I understand, you're saying that Kawan shot at Damani before you ran to the hill?
No, I'm saying that I was already at the top of the hill and I seen it with my own eyes.
Okay, and so this is when, is this when you were saying that you were like 40 yards away?
Yeah, like 30 yards. I was at the top.
Okay, and I have to ask this basic standard question. How is your vision? Do you wear glasses? Have you,
Yes.
do you have, you wear glasses?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you happen to know your prescription?
Yeah, no, like I'm on the point of like I really don't need glasses anymore. I used to wear glasses, but like just to read, you know, like for reading glasses. You know what I mean?
Okay, have you ever had trouble seeing distances?
No.
Okay, so the vision issues that you had were glasses for reading?
Yeah.
Okay. So at some point, and you've made a few different statements, or you made two different statements to police, right?
Yes.
One was that day that this happened,
Yes.
and then the next was at a later interview date in August, right?
Yes.
With Mr. Goldstein. Okay. So at that first interview that you had with the police that day, you initially told them that you didn't have a gun and that you didn't fire any shots and that this had nothing to do, correct?
Yeah.
And those things weren't true?
That wasn't true. That was a lie.
Okay. And the gun that you had that day, described it as a black pistol. You in fact have a 9mm, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Was that the gun that you had that day?
Yes.
You had a 9mm? And so you told the police that Kawan actually never fired in your direction. Is that part true?
No.
You're changing that today?
Yes. Like when he fired, I was right next to the trash can. So at this point, you don't really know if he's still firing at the money or like who is he firing at.
Okay, so you don't recall telling the police that he didn't fire at you, that you didn't believe that he was firing at you?
Yeah, the first time, like when I got arrested, I just was like, I was denying everything. But then later on, when I had my second interview with David Goldstein, and I told him the truth. Yeah, I also.
Okay, I understand. So in the middle of all this, you fired 2 shots?
Yes.
Okay. And what did you do with your gun at that point?
I gave it back to Dallas.
Okay, and Dallas, is that the the young man who is now deceased?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so leading us to your second statement. Out of your second statement, you've been offered a plea agreement, correct?
Yes, to tell the truth.
Okay, but that plea agreement is memorialized in the document that the prosecutor showed you, right? The exhibit number 1, where he showed you the document and you said that that was a copy of your written plea agreement?
Yes.
Okay. And so as a result of your testimony today, you're also charged as a co-defendant in this exact same case, correct?
Yes.
And as a part of that case, you are facing 13 felony charges, correct? Would you like to look at the plea agreement to help refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Yes, I believe I'm facing 13 counts.
Okay. And it's your understanding that after your testimony today, having changed from before to what it is today, that all
I think it mischaracterizes anything that's been said today. There was no prior testimony. The question was, you've changed your testimony from then to today.
I'm sorry, I
get it.
misunderstood. I'll rephrase your
All
honor.
right, thank
Thank
you.
you, I misspoke. Okay, so your statements that changed. Okay, so from your first statement to the police, where you told them that you had nothing to do with this and that you weren't firing a gun and you weren't doing anything, to your, okay, to your second statement and what your testimony is today, that has to do with that plea agreement, right?
Yes.
Okay, and as a result of your plea agreement, all 13 of those charges are going to be dismissed against you, correct?
No.
Okay, they're going to add a different count, right? They're going to add a different firearms count, like a reckless discharge.
Yes.
Okay, and they're going to dismiss all those first 13 charges, correct?
Yes.
And as a result of that, after your testimony today, as a matter of fact, you have a sentence agreement and you are going to wind up walking out of the Washtenaw County Jail because of your testimony today on Thursday, correct? Is that a yes or no?
Yes.
Under the charges that are all being dismissed, you would have been facing prison, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
And now you are not, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just a moment, Your Honor.
Mhm. You might want to, your mic.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't have any further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Still need to talk to him. You do. Okay, hang on. Did you want to talk to him before? Yeah, he can come. No, you stay right there. He'll come to you. Yeah, they're gonna. That one shut off. That doesn't shut. He's gonna have this. Okay. No, that one doesn't. Does that one? Can I? Yeah. Why don't you come over that way? And then you just gotta hit that microphone.
We're okay, man.
All right. Good.
Yes, sir.
Any redirect?
Very brief.
Did whatever was going on between, to your knowledge, did what was going on between Kawan and Damani have anything to do with you?
No.
Your agreement is premised to, requires you to tell the truth.
Yes, sir.
Have you done that today?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nothing out of redirect, Your Honor.
All right. Witness is excused. Just so that the record is, because I don't think it was stated on the record, Mr. Goldstein, Mr. Davis's attorney has been present in court to advise him. So I just want the record to reflect that. You're all set, man.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, folks. Any other witnesses for tonight? We need a new date.
No more for tonight.
Is this where I say hallelujah? All right. Okay. And we'll be ready to come back on what date? The 31st? Continue it? All right. So I'll indicate PE started. This preliminary examination is adjourned or continued to October 31st, 2023. I'm going to make that at 11 a.m. so that I can hopefully clear some things out before you get here to continue testimony. That is in person. All right. Bond will continue.
Thank you.
Judge, do you want the exhibit for now or just I'll bring it back?
Why don't you give it to me now and we'll hang on
Just wanted
to
to-
it. All right. Thank you, folks. Appreciate your patience today.
Thank you for your patience. Judge.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. Thank you so much, Robert.
All right. That's it for us. Are we finally done?
I hope so.
It is 7:39. Almost a good 10 hours. Feel good. Mine feels relaxed. I'm good for today. 14A stands adjourned. Go Terps.